And all my subscribers, JC1894 here with a real quick how-to video. This is going to be step 1 on how to redo your top end or a cam chain on a Yamaha Warrior 350. So the first thing you'll need to do is gather up some tools. First thing you'll need is a 3/8 ratchet with a 10mm deep well. And a 3/8 extension, short one, would be fine. A 1/2-inch breaker bar for your engine. That's for later on down the road. And probably a set of millimeter sockets for it, and a small extension may be needed. A Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, a 4mm Allen wrench, a 6mm, no, I take that back, a 5mm Allen wrench. The 5mm, that's for your Allen wrench bolts, and you have a 4mm for your plastic. So you need 3 Allen wrenches. And then a 17mm socket that either fits a 1/2-inch breaker bar or 3/8. You can get these in different size sockets for different kits and stuff. And then a 17mm wrench could be needed. You never know on that. And then a razor blade cutter for later on down the road. And then an 8mm wrench and 10mm and a 12. Now, the first step is to remove your seat. Next step, remove the fuel line. This is a big thing here to remove. But before you do anything like that, you can go ahead and take your seat off. Let your quad run and warm up, and have your gas on until you get it warmed up. And after you get warmed up, shut the gas off and let it run the rest of the gas out of the carburetor fuel bowl. Because what they'll do is when you take this fuel line off, you don't have to worry about no gas coming out. But be careful when you do. You don't want gas hitting you in the face or anything like that. These clamps here, I usually replace them because they're like a one-time deal. They weaken after like their first or second uses. So I just usually replace them with like a heater hose clamp. The next thing you can do is remove this line here for your vent tube out of the plastic piece. And then take and remove your headlights. You have a 10mm bolt here on both sides, and then a 12 in the front. So after you remove that, you have your headlight wires to disconnect. I recommend having someone hold your headlights while you disconnect the headlights from the wiring harness connections. Now the other thing is that when removing connections, you need to come down here underneath your plastic and unplug this connector. Your headlights on some of the newer model Warriors, like 2000s I believe, have these stupid connections here for the headlights, and they're pain that rear end to get loose, even right here. But what I found a little trick to is take a little tiny mini screwdriver, like something for like a pair of glasses or something, and wedge it in here, right where this little gap you'll see on that connection, and you can wiggle a little bit and you can start wiggling it loose. But these are a pain in the butt on the headlights. I usually rewire the headlights with a connector like this here, like that one. Easy slide connector is what I call them. You have this connector here to also get loose. This one here is pretty easy. You either pull up on this little tab or push down, I forget already. And then that's it for connections, and you can pull your stator wires through and let them hang down. I usually tuck them down here just for now where they're out of the road. and then come up here to your airbox intake and remove this hose off the carburetor. That's usually a Phillips head screw, or you have to remove the gas tank. And in order to remove the gas tank, you have two 10mm bolts here, one on this side and one over here. You come down underneath of here and take that one out on both sides. That one there is pretty easy to get loose, but remove the washer that sits on there, and you have a little collar that sits in there too. Usually then it'll stay inside that mount there. So I just remove it and set it on the bolt, then screw the bolt back into the frame, and you should be alright. But the one on the other side is pretty easy to get loose too. And then you have 6 4mm Allen wrench screws, 2 on this side, 2 on the right side, 1 up here, and 1 over here on the other side. And that's pretty easy to get loose. Sometimes you may have to take this cover here and pop it off and set it back so you can get to these better sometimes. And then after you remove all those, come down here underneath your fenders, remove this Phillips head screw. Sometimes these are bolts. If they replaced it from whoever had it before you, they sometimes put bolts in there instead. But usually it's a Phillips head screw. Now down here, same thing. But some people replace them with bolts and stuff because it'll pull through. Just have a variety of tools out. So or check with your fenders to see what you'll need there. And then after you remove this cover, you have a 10mm bolt here, about like right here somewhere, then one down here where there's plastic curves. Underneath there's 6 total, and there's 3 on the other side too. So you can remove these and all the bolts that are underneath of here I just told you guys about, and this here will come right off. And then you can pull your gas tank up, set it aside. Make sure you do not break this off, because you'll have to get a new petcock. These here are real good petcocks too. They're on eBay, Zooms, and they're a little bit longer neck so you don't burn your fingers on the engine when you're trying to turn it on. The stock ones are real close to the bottom of the gas tank. See, what else do I recommend for you guys to do? For the last plastic piece, that's this cover right here, you have 4 5mm Allen wrench screws holding it on. But there's 4 of them screws, and when putting these back in, put a little bit of oil on them, because they like stick in there once in a while. And then the last little plastic piece is this cover here, and that's a flathead screwdriver to get it loose. If you can't get it loose with a screwdriver, try a pair of vice grips on it. But this only has to be screwdriver tight. That means just put the screwdriver back in it and just snug it. And that's only have to be snug. Be careful not to lose the O-ring. It comes out of here too. And then after you do that, stay tuned for step 2 on what you guys need to remove. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later.